Okay, year sevens, I promise you can come back to school really soon. Our last week of working from home, we've got a few nice lessons for you to get started for the topic that it's going to pretty much take most of this term and get us to the end of the year. We are studying algebra, which it's got a really scary font here, right? Like it's scary, intimidating stuff. Algebra, right? Um, it's nothing of the sort. Algebra's just good fun, right? Good, wholesome, clean, pure, like mathematical fun that you'll all get to really sink your teeth into over the next term. If you guys are scared of the concept, right? Because people in sitcoms and on TV shows are scared of it. Well, stick with us. We'll demystify it. We'll make it hopefully something that you guys can understand and work with. What we've got for you for a start are a few glossary words. Now, you don't have to put them in your glossary this week because we've got a few more words for you and we'll print them off for you next week. But I think these are just things that you should know because they're words we're going to be talking about as we move on with our work. All right, so this word here, the variable, right, sometimes referred to as the pronumeral, is the key concept of algebra. You know, it's what algebra is all about. It's having a letter, right? A letter in our maths, right? We're not just working with numbers anymore. We've got letters as well. And when we speak correctly, we should be calling them variables. Why do we have variables in our maths? It's because sometimes we don't know something. We don't know what number it is we're working with. So a variable is just a symbol for a number we don't know yet. Right? It's a placeholder, right? As soon as we know what the number is, we'll turn the letter into that number, but in this case, I don't know what number I can like go +2 and get 6. I don't know that answer. It's too complicated, right? So I call it letter X, right? We use letters like A, B, C, X, or Y as variables because we don't know what number should go there. All right, that's our variable. And then your variables, your letters, will have numbers in front of them, right? And that's called the coefficient, right? That's the number at the front. It's a number, it's multiplying the variable. You'll get more of that, but essentially all you have to know is like if I put a 6 out the front of my letter Z, that is the coefficient, right? 6Z, 6 is the coefficient, Z is the variable. And then when I put those two things together, right, when I put a variable and a coefficient next to each other, we have what's called a term. Really, even if I don't put them together and they're just by themselves, they're still terms, right? Terms are the little bitty bits of the algebra that you work with. But we think of them as combinations of variables, of letters and numbers, right? Chunks of letters and numbers that go together. All right, so I can just come to the next page. If I want to write a term, 7b is a term, right? It's a combination of letters and numbers. This is the variable. And the 7 in front of it is the coefficient, that's the number. And together they make a term. And they're just telling me I have 7 B's, whatever B's, right? Could be 7 bananas, could be 7 bouncy balls. I have 7 B's, whatever that is, right? This is a term with a coefficient and a variable, and they're your words. So some of you might be feeling a bit under the cosh already, right? Because we've given you 3 new words to know. Right? 3 whole words, right? A variable, a coefficient, a term, right? That's a lot of work already, but don't feel too bad, right? Over the next few weeks, mainly all we're going to ask you to do with this algebra unit, you'll be adding, right? And you guys know how to add, you'll be subtracting, sometimes you'll be multiplying. As long as you know your times tables, you'll be right. And if you know them backwards, you can divide as well, right? We're not throwing anything too new at you. It's just that we're working with letters instead of numbers, right? So not so scary. So we're starting pretty simple today. We're starting slow. And I do have to explain what the concept of a like term is to you, just so you can get going with your maths. So a like term, okay, a like term is when your term, your algebra, has the same letter in it, and those letters, they have the same powers. You won't see any powers today, so don't worry too much. You're just looking for the same letter, right? The same letter means like term, right? Here is a list of like terms. Right, I have x, which is 1x, right? There's no number at the front. It means I've just got 1x. 2x's, 3x's, 100x's, 1000x's, what they have in common is the letter x. These letters are all alike, so these are all like terms. These are the things you'll be working with today. An example of unlike terms, well, these are all different, right? This one has an x, this one has an x and a y, right? Different. This one has an x squared, and again, it's different, right? No powers today, but powers complicate things. This one doesn't have a letter at all. This is xp, right? Experience. None of the others have a P in it. Different, right? These are all unlike terms, right? Different, 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 whereas these are all the same, so we call them like terms. Okay, so if I was making you group some things up, we'd be just looking for the same letters, right? So the letter Y would go with the letter 6Y. Sorry, the term 6Y, and would go with 3Y, right? This is a set of like terms because they all have the letter Y. They just have different numbers out the front because the number just tells you how many of your letter you've got, right? How many yams you bought from the shop or how many yo-yos you've got in a drawer, right? 1, 6, and 3, but they're all the letter Y. Another group would be the letter X's. 4, X is a thing. Minus 2X can be a thing, right? We can have negative amounts. But the main thing is they are the same letter. Oh, I missed one here. There we go. Minus 3Ys would go there too. XY, right? So we're looking for a different group of letters or combination. These ones all go together as well. And then we've got a pair here, XY squared, and a pair here as well. All right, the numbers don't matter. We're just working with letters that are the same. And why do we have to know this? Why do we need to know that like terms exist? Because you can add and you can subtract them from each other. Okay, these are the things that we'll be adding and subtracting. Okay, you can only add and subtract letters when they are the same. Okay, so here is the actual maths. Here is what you are doing. You have to add R and R and R and R. You have to go R plus R plus R plus R. But these questions are really just asking you, how many R's do you have? So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. So we can put a coefficient of 4 out the front of my variable R. That makes the term 4R. Right, we're just grouping them up. Right? If somebody sends you to the shop to buy something that starts with R, to buy roll-ups, I don't know, you don't come back and say, I bought a roll-up and a roll-up and a roll-up and a roll-up. You say, I bought 4 roll-ups, right? This is just simpler, right? This is called simplifying. We turn this into that by simplifying. Now, with the next one, we've got P's and we've got F's. These two are like terms with each other, but these three, they don't go with P. They go with each other as well. So the question is, how many P's and how many F's? But we don't put them like all together in one group. So what we do is we count how many P's we've got. There's 1, there's 2. All right, so your answer should have 2 P's in it. And then the F's are separate from the P's. There's a positive 3 amount, so we're going to put a plus in between, right? There'll usually be a plus or minus in between them. And I see 1, 2, 3. All right, 2P and 3F. And this is our final answer. We can't put them together. We shouldn't put them together. So this is as simple as we can make this, right? We're not trying to answer a question like what is P. We're just trying to make these things nicer. And putting P and P together to have 2P is nicer. All right, next example. Right, we've got, again, some P's. And we've got the letter Y. We're allowed to add the P's together, but the Y doesn't go into them. Right, so 3P plus 4P, right, they've got coefficients already, we just add them together. 3 peanuts plus 4 peanuts, you guys know are 7 peanuts, right? Don't be scared of algebra. 3 plus 4 is 7, and it always is. This 6Y has no friends, right? It has no like terms, no one likes it, I guess, which means it has to just hang out by itself. Right, so you'd put it after the 7 P's. Right, all I'm doing is writing it simpler than I did before. And the same thing applies to subtraction as well. So it's really just a matter, like these are just how many questions, right? How many of a thing do you have, right? Algebra doesn't have to be scary. It's just how many of the thing do you have? And we've learnt today that things only get counted or put together if they are the same thing, right? So these Y's are the same thing. So we put them together, we go 5, take away 3. All right, it's just 2Y. This one, we just worked left to right. They're all J's. We're allowed to put them together, right? So I'm going 6J, take 2J, right? It's 4J, plus 3 more J's, takes me up to 7J's. Take away 5J, leaves me with 2J's, right? We're working with the letter J. The letter J is in our answer. We're just counting how many by plussing and minusing the numbers. Right, so this one here, 3T plus 2T is 5T. All right, so 3 Tim Tams plus 2 Tim Tams is 5 Tim Tams. And then if Baxter comes along and eats all 5 Tim Tams, well, you've got nothing, right? I can put letter T or not, but I've got 0. I've got 0 of anything, right? That's nothing. So I put 0 as my answer. All right, and if you get to a tricky one like this where everything's all mushed up, what we suggest that you do is use your colors, all right, and you underline the things that are the same, right? So I'm underlining the things that are like terms, right? These are my A's for a start. I put them in red, and I'll put my B's in green. Right? I've been doing it all along, right? But when they start to be kind of spaced out and not all kind of put together, it's just good to see what we're working with here. And then the question just is how many A's, how many B's? You know, how many apples, how many bananas, right? If it helps you to picture A's and B's as real things, to get you out of that algebraic fearful mindset, then by all means. All right, so for a start, how many A's? Well, we start with 5. There's a minus in front of this 3A, right? So that belongs to the 3A. So we're going 5 apples, eat 3 apples, you know, take away 3 apples. That takes me down to 2 apples. Then I plus 1 more, right? No number in front means it's 1 more. So 5 take 3 plus 1 is 3 apples, right? I'm halfway through my answer. Then I'm counting how many bananas I've got, right? This is positive 2. This is positive 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. I put a plus because it's positive 5. Right, 3 apples and 5 bananas. Right, so you are doing many questions today that look a lot like this. You'll be practicing it again on the second lesson this week to make sure you've got the hang of it. But that's the process, right? Just put things together that are the same, right? Keep the letters there and just add or subtract the numbers, and you guys will be right.